All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. Before we get started, we want to let you all know that we have a brand new email address. It's going to be chinchecksportsradio@gmail.com. Once again, chinchecksportsradio@gmail.com. If you all wish to send us any emails just to let you know how you feel, whether you agree or disagree, whether you have some ideas or some programs or some topics that you want us to cover, or just for some good old-fashioned interaction, that's what the email is for. So we definitely hope to hear from you all. Now, we definitely want to do our review of the Oleksandr Usyk versus Anthony Joshua rematch. The fight has just concluded. As we sent on our Twitter account, we didn't get a chance to do the preview for the fight. We had a lot of things going on. We were a little bit tied up, so we didn't get a chance to do the preview. We did our review for the first fight. Now, going into this fight, we were picking Anthony Joshua. We felt that Anthony Joshua would have used his size to try to bully Usyk around the ring, don't give him the space to utilize the boxing ability, to really fight like a bigger man, to really establish his jab. And from a mental standpoint, with the ongoing war in Ukraine, Oleksandr Usyk taking time away to join a militia army group to defend his homeland. Did that take away from his training? You know, how mentally focused was he in that fight, knowing that his country is at war right now and they were being invaded by a world superpower? So those are things that we felt that Joshua would have won the fight, or pick Joshua to win the rematch. And folks, this was an excellent fight. A good back and forth affair, guys that were evenly matched, and we'll jump right into the action here. We gave the first round to Oleksandr Usyk because we felt that he was the busier of the two. Now, of course, the first round in any fight, whether it's heavyweight or regardless, is about a feeling out process. It's about trying to pick each other. Guys are still trying to get warmed up. So we gave the first round to Usyk. We gave the second round to Anthony Joshua because we noticed that now he was starting to land some solid body punches with new trainer Robert Garcia. If you don't know who Robert Garcia is, the trainer of Brandon Rios, the trainer of Mikey Garcia, just a solid fundamental trainer. And AJ was landing some solid body punches, and to box an opponent who has a herky-jerky style, who has a lot of upper body head movement, the easiest target to hit is the body. Being a bigger guy, the punches would stick to the body even more. So Joshua found something in the second round by landing some hard, effective body punches. In the third round, we gave a close third round to an Anthony Joshua by just landing a few harder punches here and there. Nothing much, a close round, but we definitely felt that Joshua hit enough to win the round. We gave the fourth round to Usyk because now he appeared to be more aggressive, taking more of an aggressive stance, landing some good combinations, turning the tide of the fight that appears to be going in favor of one Anthony Joshua. At this point now, he seems to have, to quote, collected that DNA. He's boxing and moving. Now he's utilizing that footwork. He's trying to get away from a lot of Joshua's punches, and at this point, even standing in front of him, and again, adopting a more aggressive posture. We gave the fifth round to Usyk because he had the appearance that he was taking control of the fight, pot-shotting Joshua. Joshua at this point really was not letting his hands go. Now you're letting Usyk dictate the pace of the action. If you look at the criteria about boxing, effective aggression, ring generalship, clearly it was Usyk who had that. And you could tell by the fifth round that now the tide has turned for Usyk, because we even tweeted out that he appears to be taking control of the fight. We gave the 6th round to Usyk because, again, he was letting his hands go when, in fact, Joshua was not letting his hands go. Same with the 7th round. So now we pretty much have given the 4th to the 7th round to Usyk. Again, being a busier fighter, landing some quick shots on the inside. Nothing too hard, but landing some short shots on the inside, short shots on the outside, fighting in and out of range. Now we're using defense. Joshua fought well in the first couple of rounds, using side-to-side movement, trying to land a good jab, trying to land some good body punches, or did land some good body punches. Even his trainer was telling him, throw everything behind the double jab. Joshua tended to fall into a little bit of a lull going into the 7th round. We stated that Joshua would have to let his hands go in order to turn the tide, which is what he did in the 8th round. Joshua landed some solid body punches in the 8th round. Clearly the round was for Anthony Joshua. Now this was Anthony Joshua's best round, which is the 9th round. He landed some solid hard body punches, and they appear to be slowing Usyk down. So now you're thinking that now Joshua has now regained the momentum of the fight, slowing Usyk down, landing hard body punches. You can tell Usyk might have been a little buzzed and hurt or stunned, but that was clearly the most dominant round from Anthony Joshua, was that 9th round, his best round of the fight. Now, there was something that I noticed was how slow Oleksandr Usyk walked back to his corner at the end of the 9th round. So if you're watching this, you're thinking now AJ has turned a tide in this fight. He has now seized control of the fight. The body punches that he's landing is now starting to pay dividends, that proverbial money in the bank. Again, when I saw Usyk walking back to his corner very slow at the end of the 9th round, I'm talking about almost he staggered back to the corner where he was clearly a little bit worse for the wear. So now you think to yourself, okay, has AJ taken this fight by the throat? Is he possibly going to even knock Usyk out, or is he going to coast the final 3 rounds? Because again, at this point, Joshua is still behind on said scorecards. Now here is where we will show the utmost respect for one Oleksandr Usyk. Folks, this man came out in the 10th round. Now mind you, after being battered around the ring in the 9th round, after walking slow and staggering back to his corner, he came out in the 9th round and opened up a flurry on one Anthony Joshua. And we had to say that was a true response and truly showing a champion's heart. And he clearly dominated that 10th round, which was his best round of the fight so far, and this came after the best round of one Anthony Joshua. So now you have momentum changing directions like the wind. You thought Joshua has seized all the momentum of this fight at the end of the 9th round, considering how tired and worn that Usyk looked. And in the 10th round, for this guy to come out and truly seize the momentum or regain the momentum back in his favor, to just open up and bust it loose on Anthony Joshua, this is where we have a newfound respect for Oleksandr Usyk, because that was a hell of a response in a clear and dominating 10th round. At this point, you have to give the 11th round to Usyk. Another clear round, landing hard punches, doing what he has to do. Now, Anthony Joshua had his moments, but in terms of winning the overall round and doing more, we definitely gave the 11th round to Oleksandr Usyk. Now, at this point, looking at scorecards, or if you listen to the broadcast and adding up the scorecards to yourself, Anthony Joshua at this point needs a knockout to win this fight. Even a knockdown is not the only thing. He needs a knockout to win this fight. And we have Usyk again winning the 12th round. Again, Joshua had his moments trying to land some hard body punches that might have gotten Usyk's attention, but Usyk was quick to respond. And it was something interesting, and we're going to talk about this with Anthony Joshua later on, about how much he has left in the tank. But we clearly gave the 12th round to one Usyk, doing what he did, again, winning these championship rounds, sweeping the 10th, 11th, and 12th round. So we give Oleksandr Usyk all the credit in the world. Folks, one judge scored that fight, 115-113 for Anthony Joshua. We don't see how, but we're not going to harp on that. We're not going to, the other, judges scored, the official decision was a split decision. One judge really scored that fight for Anthony Joshua. We don't see how. We give all the credit to Oleksandr Usyk, again, fighting with a heavy heart, coming on strong in the championship rounds after being clearly hurt in the 9th round. This guy has my utmost respect. Now, as for Anthony Joshua, I don't know what WWE promo that he had in the post-fight press conference, because at this point, and again, he was being a sportsman, so we're definitely going to give him credit. He was being a sportsman. He was showing support for Usyk and his home country of the Ukraine. He had a Ukrainian flag. They were sharing a Ukrainian flag draped over their shoulders before they made the official announcement. So clearly that was a classy display, classy behavior by one Anthony Joshua before the decision was announced. Then you see Anthony Joshua walk out of the ring, and then all of a sudden storms back to the ring, exchanges words, and he seemed to be respectful, but exchanges words with Oleksandr Usyk, and I could have swore I heard him saying, "How did you beat me in this fight?" So maybe there was some denial there from Anthony Joshua. I guess the realization set in that he actually lost the fight. And then while Usyk then takes the Ukrainian flag from Anthony Joshua, when Anthony Joshua walks back into the ring, puts a Ukrainian flag on himself, then takes the microphone, and I'm still trying to figure out what the post-fight WWE style promo was about. It turned into where he came from and how he picked up boxing and pretty much telling his life story. How him and Usyk were both warriors. So his behavior was a little bit eyebrow raising, but again, we're not going to crush him for that. Maybe his heart was broken. Maybe he sees a lot of dollar signs now being flushed down the toilet. There's probably going to be no fight with the now retired Tyson Fury. The luster for the Deontay Wilder fight is pretty much been flushed down the drain. So maybe he sees now his stock as being a top heavyweight has now taken a serious tumble, and it might not recover. So maybe the reality has set in. So we're not going to beat him up too much, but just his post-fight press conference, post-fight interview, self-interview inside the ring was a little bit bizarre, but we're definitely not going to kill him for that. And folks, we said this on a previous broadcast. Sometimes it is good to strike while the iron is hot. When he was undefeated and Deontay Wilder was undefeated, and whatever reason the fight didn't get made, Deontay says Joshua was ducking him. Joshua says Wilder was ducking him. For whatever reason the fight didn't get made, these are some of the things that can go wrong when you mess around and wait too long to make a fight. Folks, think of how much money they would have made if they would have fought back in 2017 or 2018. Let that sink in. And now 4 years later, Deontay Wilder has a comeback fight after 2 brutal knockout losses. Anthony Joshua after 2 consecutive losses. So again, I think most people are not going to pay top dollar to see that fight anymore. It's still a marketable fight. They're both names, but in terms of that marquee fight that I would have thrown a fight party for and people would have stopped doing what they're doing on a Saturday to watch that fight has come and gone. Let this be a lesson to professional fighters: when you overvalue yourself and don't understand strike while the iron is hot, when you're undefeated, make these fights happen. Are you listening, Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford? I just thought I'd throw that out there. Now going forward, what happens with both men? Oleksandr Usyk alluded to the fact that if he doesn't fight Tyson Fury, he's not fighting at all. Tyson Fury's retired on Monday, unretired on Tuesday, has something to say on Wednesday, is unretired Thursday, is supposed to be coming back Friday. So we'll see what he does. Folks on social media saying, well, if Fury doesn't fight this guy, he can't say he's the best heavyweight of his generation. So who knows? That's an argument for another day. So we'll see what Usyk does. Where does Joshua go from here? Folks, I think Joshua is slowly becoming a shot fighter, and here's why I say that. From a action standpoint, when you're a shot fighter, or you slowly become a shot-worn fighter, when you're not at your peak anymore, you can't sustain the things that you can do when you were young. Remember, a key to Joshua was his boxing ability and fast hands. Did anybody see Joshua having fast hands this evening? Joshua's best weapons were a bunch of body punches, the occasional right hand, and maybe a left hook. But a lot of punches that he threw tonight actually missed, and missed wildly. A lot of the hard right hands that Anthony Joshua tried to throw missed badly. Now you can say that was due to Usyk's defense and his upper body movement, but a top professional like an Anthony Joshua should not be missing those type of punches and almost looking amateurish in the process. That was rather concerning because, again, you had all this time to prepare, and making your punches short and compact, it still wasn't there. Also, not being able to sustain an attack for long periods of time. Clearly, and especially in the 9th round, where he had Usyk hurt, Joshua almost became sloppy in his attack. But there were other times in the fight where he might have landed a hard right hand, he landed some hard body punches that clearly got Usyk's attention. And Joshua couldn't follow it up with anything. And even the commentators were saying that he's not following up. Now again, you want to give Usyk the credit by not allowing him to follow up, but a top flight professional should be able to follow up when you clearly have a guy hurt, or you build upon some of the good things that you were doing. And Joshua, for some reason in this fight, couldn't build upon the good things that he was doing. That's cause for concern. And was it just us, or did he look exhausted again in the 12th round? Now, is he carrying too much muscle? Because the more muscles you have, the more oxygen that you need. So that was very telling. Again, in a fight that you had a lot of time to prepare for, he looked exhausted, staggering on his feet and really floundering around the ring in the 12th round. He looked out of it. And that's kind of bad at this stage of his career. So I don't know if Joshua is that same prime fighter that he was. He has a lot of mileage. He's had a lot of, some solid fights. He's took some losses, and this was his best shot. And to not be able to sustain the attacks for long periods of time, looking rather slow on punches, not really using his jab. He did it for the first couple rounds, and he clearly abandoned that. At one point, he leaned against the ropes in the 12th round. Leaning against the ropes as if he was all done in. That was bad. Again, punches missing wildly. That was bad. So if people can make the argument, and we're kind of leaning towards that, maybe Anthony Joshua's best days could be behind him. It's just something to think about. Again, we hope we see him, but in terms of a big money fight that the American public wants to see, now of course, he's going to have his diehard fans in Britain and England, and that's okay. Or the United Kingdom, I should say. He's going to have his fans there. But in terms of the American boxing public, that big money fight that we were clamoring to see against one Deontay Wilder when they were both undefeated heavyweight champions, those days are long gone. So again, strike while the iron is hot. But again, we had to do our review for the Oleksandr Usyk versus Anthony Joshua rematch. Once again, congratulations to Oleksandr Usyk for retaining his heavyweight championship in the world. I believe he also won the ring heavyweight championship in the world. And again, all the credit to this guy for fighting with a heavy heart, home country in the middle of a war. And again, more importantly, after being hurt in the 9th round, to come back and clearly sweep the final 3 rounds, those championship rounds, we give Usyk all the credit in the world. And once again, please email us, or don't be afraid to email us at chinchecksportsradio@gmail.com. Once again, that's chinchecksportsradio@gmail.com. We would include it in the description section of the YouTube. And definitely, until next time, Chin Check Radio signing out.